Bellingwood Vignettes by Diane Greenwood Muir. Book 10, Vignette number 2, Celebrate Good Times. When are you going to invite Rebecca over for a sleepover? Stephanie asked her sister. Even though Kayla tried not to show it, her quick glance around the living room broke Stephanie's heart. I don't know. We play over there all the time, and she has a big bed for us to sleep in. Stephanie sat forward on the old sofa. She'd bought a slipcover for it, but the sofa sagged and drooped. I'm sorry we have to live in an old trailer. It's okay. When I'm older, I'll get a job. Maybe between the two of us, we can afford to live in a nice house. Things are getting better, you know, Stephanie said. Last week I put some money into a savings account for the first time. Kayla nodded. That's good, right? That's great. I'm going to save enough so that maybe we can move into an apartment in a few months. This is really okay. Kayla stood up and reached over to take Stephanie's dinner plate. At least we have a roof over our heads, right? That was one of their father's favorite things to say. Usually when he was yelling at their mother, telling her how lucky she was to have a roof over her head. But they didn't have to worry about him any longer. His murder trial wasn't supposed to happen until later this year, but when Stephanie had described the torment her family lived through at his hand, the judge denied any possibility of bail. He was in jail for the rest of his life, as far as she was concerned. Stephanie picked up an embroidered pillow that was on the couch. It was one item she had wanted to take from their house. Her mother had cried herself to sleep many evenings with her face buried in that pillow so that he wouldn't hear her. The flowers were faded, and it seemed to fit with the faded look of the room. But Stephanie smiled at the memory of her mother. She had sacrificed everything so that Kayla and Stephanie could escape. She heard the water turn on in the sink. It was Kayla's turn to do the dishes. Even if they didn't have nice things, Stephanie insisted that they keep the place as clean as possible. Thank goodness for garage sales. She'd been able to pick up some mismatched dishes last summer for less than $1, and when she stumbled on an old vacuum, she'd grabbed it. They were still buying clothes for Kayla at Goodwill. One day she wanted to walk into a real store with her sister and tell her that she could get a brand new wardrobe, clothes that no one had ever worn before. They might not be able to do it ever again after that, but just once, she wanted to give her little sister something special. Kayla never complained. Even now, when she didn't feel as if she could invite her friend over, she refused to complain. Hey, do you have a lot of homework tonight? Stephanie asked. Kayla stood in the doorway, a plate in one hand and a towel in the other. We only have a couple of weeks left. Everything she gives us we can do in school. So that's a no? That's a no, Kayla said, stepping back into the kitchen. So what do you want to do tonight? Stephanie stood up and rearranged the pillows on the sofa. She moved the 2 TV trays off to the side. I don't know. Watch TV? Why don't we go for a ride? Maybe we should go down to Boone and get ice cream or something. I don't feel like sitting here all night. Kayla popped her head back out. Really? Ice cream? I thought you were on a diet. It's just a reason for us to get out of here. Do you want to? I'm almost done. Kayla came out of the kitchen. Let's drive uptown first. Sometimes the general store is open in the evening. They have ice cream there, too. Let's go. Stephanie picked her car keys up from the ledge by the front door and pushed the door open, holding it while Kayla stepped out. Once they were in the car, Kayla asked, What made you do this? We never go out. You always have homework in the evenings. And besides, I'm proud of you. Why? Kayla buckled her seatbelt and looked up at her sister. What did I do? You're a good kid. I'm a pretty lucky sister. We haven't even gotten my report card yet, Kayla said. Your progress report was really good this quarter. Don't you think you're going to get B's and A's? Probably. Math got better since I've been going to Polly's in the afternoon. She always checks our work if we want her to. She told me about that. I think it's great. So, tonight we'll find a treat to say congratulations. And I also think you're pretty wonderful. You're pretty wonderful too, Kayla said, but I still don't understand. Stephanie stopped at a stop sign and waited for traffic to go past on the highway. She put her hand on Kayla's knee. I know this last year hasn't been easy, But I also want you to know that I see that you don't complain. We're going to live in a better place one of these days, and we'll have decent furniture, and you won't be ashamed to invite your friends over." "I'm not ashamed." Kayla's voice dropped and she hung her head. "It's okay. I know you are. If I had any friends, I probably wouldn't invite them over either. It's going to get better, though, I promise." She turned north on Elm and a block later west on Washington. There were plenty of people on the main street this evening. Restaurants were busy and people were going in and out of stores. "Look," Kayla said, "the general store is open. Can we go in?" "That sounds fun. I'll find a parking place." Stephanie smiled at her sister's big eyes as they circled the block. The girl was trying to take in all of the activity happening around her. They needed to get out of the trailer more often. She had to park by the library. The building was dark this evening, closed on Monday nights now. "I'm glad it closed," she said. "No, it's open," Kayla said. "I saw people in there and the lights are all on." "No, I meant the library. If they hadn't closed it on Monday nights, we'd never have found Polly." "Oh, yeah. Well, I found Rebecca." "You sure did." Stephanie reached down and took her sister's hand. "Want to skip?" "Skip? You've never skipped? You do it like this." Stephanie started out, pulling her sister along. There was no traffic, and she stopped in the middle of the street. "Try it." "Well, that's silly." "Tonight, I feel like being silly. Come on, try it." Kayla stumbled the first time, and then she tried again and skipped. She giggled. "That's fun." "Come on, let's skip to the general store." "We'll look funny." "Yes, we will, but who cares?" Stephanie said. "Can I have 2 scoops of ice cream?" "You can have whatever you want." Stephanie felt tears in her eyes. It finally hit her. Life was just beginning for her and Kayla. They were safe, and they had each other. They skipped across the street, and she hopped up onto the sidewalk, then waited while Kayla hopped up too. When Stephanie pushed the door open to the general store, they were greeted by a buzz of activity. 2 seats were open at the ice cream bar, and she pulled her sister along with her. "What can I get for you girls tonight?" an older man asked. Kayla pointed at the sign for the flavor of the day. She looked at her sister. "Can I have a scoop of chocolate and a scoop of chocolate chip?" "We'll have 2 of those in waffle cones," Stephanie announced. "We're celebrating." "What you celebrating?" he asked. "Bellingwood," she said. "We're glad we're here." "Then I'm glad you're here too." He scooped up the first cone and handed it to Kayla. She beamed as she drew her tongue across the top of the ice cream. "Thank you, Stephanie," she whispered. "I love you." "I love you too." Stephanie reached out and caught a drip. "Be sure to lick all the way around now."